in Majora's Mask, it was the only game in the Legend of Zelda series to have Majora's Mask and Termina. But what happened to Majora's Mask and Termina in the two other timelines, the Child timeline and the Downfall timeline? Let's find out. So basically, in Majora's Mask, this happens. The Majora's Mask is found by the Happy Mask salesman, which is then stolen by Skull Kid. Then the Majora's Mask possesses Skull Kid, and then Link gets turned to a Deku Scrub because of Majora's Mask possessing Skull Kid. And then they go to Termina, where Link must free the four giants to stop the moon from falling down into Termina and destroying Termina, which he does. But to find out what happened to Termina and Majora's Mask in the other timelines, first we need to find out what Termina is. So good thing in the Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask manual, it tells us that Termina is a parallel world to Hyrule. And if you don't agree with me because of what other books have said about Termina and ways, most people believe it's a dream world. It's not true because this manual tells you, and this came out when Majora's Mask came out. So since this was the first source telling you what Termina was, I believe this source, and plus this was the first original thing that Nintendo had said about what Termina was. And also, if it was a dream world, why would you see Tinkle and Catfi, two characters that have never been seen in any Legend of Zelda game ever before seen in a Zelda game? They have never been introduced into the Zelda world until Majora's Mask. And also, how would the Happy Mask salesman even be able to enter this dream world if Termina was a dream world? That would make no sense whatsoever. And now that we got that out of the way, we've only seen Termina in the Child timeline. And since we're going to be looking at the fates of Majora's Mask and Termina in the two other timelines, let's start with the infamous Downfall timeline. Basically, in this timeline, Link then goes to fight Ganon, and then Ganon kills Link, and all that stuff. It's pretty confusing on how the Downfall timeline was created. But you may be wondering where the Happy Mask salesman went in the Downfall timeline. Well, here's your answer. In Legend of Zelda Oracle of Ages, there you can find the Happy Mask salesman at his shop. This is obviously a descendant of the Happy Mask salesman because it's been hundreds of years since Ocarina of Time. So at least we know that the Happy Mask salesman has descendants so far. Now let's find out even more clues on what's happened to Majora's Mask and Termina. I'm pretty sure that Majora's Mask was found by the Happy Mask salesman in the Downfall timeline. Obviously, so that's a big yes, I did find it. But what about Termina? What happened to Termina? Did it get destroyed by Majora's Mask? Let's go find out for more clues. So basically, since the Skull Kid tried stealing Majora's Mask in Legends of Majora's Mask, that this technically could have happened, since in the Child timeline, Link goes back in time 7 years, and then gets Ganon arrested, and in those 7 years, the Happy Mask salesman gets robbed of Majora's Mask. But we know that Majora's Mask probably never went to Termina, for one thing, because you can find it in Link Between Worlds. Because in a Link Between Worlds, you can actually see Majora's Mask right there on your wall. So I'm guessing that one of the Happy Mask salesman's descendants somehow got the dark magic out of Majora's Mask mysteriously, which is really strange unless this is just a pure Easter egg. But at least we know the fate of Majora's Mask from looking at Legend of Zelda Oracle of Ages and Link Between Worlds. So that's good. Majora's Mask survived and never entered Termina whatsoever. And the dark magic in Majora's Mask somehow got taken out of it by a descendant of the Happy Mask salesman, most probably. So now let's look at the adult timeline now. My favorite timeline out of the three. In this timeline, Link kills Ganon successfully. But let's see, did the Happy Mask salesman successfully get Majora's Mask? Well, since he got in the downfall timeline, I'm going to go with yes, he did get Majora's Mask in the adult timeline. And even though in the adult timeline he probably moved to Labrina just like he did in the downfall timeline, because I'm guessing in the 7 years of Ganon practically like ruling Hyrule, he just moved to Labrina just like in the downfall timeline. Either way, there's a great flood in the adult timeline where basically Ganon comes and the Hero Time Link is not there to save Hyrule, because in the adult timeline, Link goes back to his childhood 7 years later, which means there's a timeline split and Link isn't there, so Ganon then came back, and because of that, the three goddesses then flooded Hyrule to stop Ganon from taking over all of Hyrule. So, Majora's Mask probably in the adult timeline was probably like not found because it all got buried because of the flood in the adult timeline. So because of that, Majora's Mask is basically gone forever. I don't think the dark magic in it was taken away like in the downfall timeline, because by the time the flood happened, there wouldn't even be any like descendants of the Happy Mask salesman by that time. So now we know the fate of Majora's Mask and Termina in the two other timelines. Surprisingly, Termina would have not been destroyed in either of the two timelines. What's more surprising is that in the Downfall timeline, Majora's Mask's dark magic gets removed by a descendant of the Happy Mask salesman, I believe. And in the adult timeline, it doesn't. Well, that wraps up this theory video today. So I hope you like this, and please subscribe if you like my video. So with that out of the way, Savage here, Brian, out.